unworthy. Free Davontae Sanford.
Free Davontae Sanford.
Yeah, they coerced him. They actually had him sign a confession that he did not sign anyway. He only signed his name. That's because he didn't know what they was putting in front of his face because he didn't know how to read.
Who was that? Didn't know how to read.
Devonte. He didn't know what he was signing. He just thinking that he's going home. And that's how they did it. They railroaded him.
How do you get justice for him? What do you have to do to get justice for him?
Pray hard and let God prevail.
How old is Devonte?
He's 19 now.
He's 19?
Yes.
So he's already been in there for 5 years?
5 years, yes.
Have you talked to him? How's he doing?
Yes, he's doing good, but it's the whole thing about it is that he knows what's going on out here, but he don't care what's going on out here because he's still locked up. You know what I'm saying? They've been treating him bad in there. Been starving him, been beating him, all types of stuff.
Has he been getting any education while he's in there?
Not that I know of.
So he's still illiterate?
It's not that he was illiterate. He didn't understand.
He didn't know how to. He didn't know how to read.
He's a little bit more smarter now that he has been locked up. Yes, I can say that.
Now,
you know what I'm saying? Well, I knew it was something to it at the beginning anyway, but yes.
Why come out here 5 years later and keep protesting?
Well, we kept doing it from the beginning. Yeah. The year after, we just kept going on. Bill Proctor is the one that brought it to our attention. Good man, good man.
And how does this, tie into, the Trayvon Martin case, Aiyana Jones?
Unconstitutional.
And that's why you're all here together today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's unconstitutional for them to keep doing and allow what's going on and how it's going on.
So what kind of results are you looking for?
For him to come home. For him to be released. It's been too long and they still got him in there and Ken Worthy ain't doing nothing about it. It's like they want to sweep something up under the rug as if they want him to commit suicide or kill himself or something happened to him so this will just go away.
What makes you think that?
Well, he's still locked up. I mean, what else can we think?
I mean, is that his state of mind? Is that his state of mind, suicidal?
Yeah, because they do got him on suicide watch. And he have told me some things that he ready to come home. And so it crushed him when they denied his appeal.
What would you like to tell the community about this case?
The community already know about this case. The only thing I want to just let the community know, do it right. Because if it was their child, if it was their stepson, stepdaughter, or anybody in their family, they'll be fighting the same way. But just do what's right, because regardless of what, it's not even about the people anyway. There's a God out here, and God is gonna prevail behind this. I don't know if people believe in God, but I believe firmly in God, and I know that God is gonna prevail, because if he don't prevail on this, then that's gonna make his word void. And so that's what I have to say behind it.
Thank you much.
I am very, very frustrated with the justice system because I feel and thought that they were here to, protect us and do what's right. And I don't understand, why wouldn't you let the man that did the killing come out and admit it? He's telling y'all that he's ready to come up and confess and even be charged and do extra time if he have to do for these killings. So what's the problem? Who's covering up for who? What is it that y'all really don't want us to come out? And it's all because everybody is human. Everybody makes a mistake. I will accept your apology. You don't owe me nothing. I don't owe you nothing. I just want my son home.
And why do you speak?
I want one of the we got from London. Come on.
Reverse psychology and flipped around on him, and then bam, voila. So why not get Devonte a bond and until this matter roll over? Get him a bond. We're gonna come together and get him out if he can get a bond.
Devonte have any siblings?
Me?
Siblings?
He got 4. Hi. 4.
We here protesting on Davontae Sanford behalf. It's unconstitutional. I'm gonna keep standing on that. It's unconstitutional. They let Zimmerman out on the bond and he killed the innocent person, an innocent child at that, because he thought he was the police. And Devontae's still sitting in jail. Let Davontae Sanford out on the bond. Until this matter blow over. Ken Worthy, their whole office know they wrong. A lot of people gonna lose their jobs and all types of stuff, and they want to keep it swept under the rug. They hoping that he commits suicide. They hoping something happened to him. But the reason why ain't nothing happened to him is because God is good. Matter of fact, he's amazing. That somewhere in their heart that they get sensitive of what the situation is and do what's right and release him. He got a family out here that really love him, that they're fighting for him. And then here it is, you got Vincent Smothers who confess to the crimes and they still don't want to release him. It's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional.
To get away with it, they're not going to.
But you know what? I don't know how they sleep at night. I don't know how you can do. As soon as he come out, a week later, we get the papers in at the night. But what kind of justice is you giving these families? You ain't got the real person in jail for the killing. And why do the families even accept that? Because I wouldn't even accept it.
And as families, we're also serving time with our children.
And they don't understand that.
We tried and convicted before
you guys, I want to get started.
No, we're proven guilty. You know, right away. Right away. You know, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. It don't work like that for real. Not in the real world. They prove you guilty as soon as they put them handcuffs on.
Channel 7 needs us to do a circuit.
For Aiyana! Justice for Aiyana! Justice for Free Davontae Sanford! Free Davontae Sanford! Free Davontae Sanford!
Justice for Mike!
Kim Worthy, free Davontae Sanford!
Worthy, free Davontae Sanford!
Jail the killer cop!
Jail the killer cop!
Get that killer cop! Love you, man. I'm here. I'm coming your way. How you doing?
Oh, look, I'm not.
They locked me up because they said that I charged this cop. I ran toward him and tackled him. Do y'all think I would still be standing here if I did that?
Oh no, they got their kids up.
I said freedom for my son. That's what I want. I want justice for Aiyana. I stand behind the Sanford family. Because I know what you're going through. But I couldn't imagine at 14. This is my grandson. He's 14. No way. No way. And enough of us don't get out here and fight. You know, and like I said, I speak for the Jones and Stanley family. When I say free Charles Jones, free Davontae Sanford, I support Trayvon Martin's family and all the innocent people they have locked up.
That's right.
This ain't over.
That's right.
Because once I have another son, Norbert Jones, who's unjustly in prison. I'm fighting for his freedom. That ain't what I had my children for. And after this is over, we bring these boys home, Miss Sanford, we gonna fight for the other ones.
That's right. That's right.
The other mothers that are going through this. This is not right. It's not right at all. That's all I really have to say. Dominique, anything you want me to say? Of these wrongfully convicted young men and people that are standing around, you know, I don't know who's here for us or, you know, We need all the support we can get, because one day y'all could be standing in our shoes. Y'all, this could be y'all kids.
That's right.
This could be one of y'all family members. One of y'all loved.
We're gonna be in jail. We didn't wake up and think that
Right.
was gonna die.
So stand up, support us. We're not doing anything wrong but speaking.
That's right.
We want freedom for our kids. Thank all of y'all for showing up and supporting us, those of y'all who did. And we're going to continue this fight. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalil Fareed Muhammad, and I'm here in support of freeing Devonte, also justice for Aiyana Jones and Charles Jones. Joseph Weekley, the killer, the child killer cop that killed her, lives right around the corner from me in Grosse Pointe Park. And I've been on him just trying to get his name, who it was that killed her. They've been holding back on everything from him. This man killed her.
He's at home with his family.
He's at home with his family. He's still getting a paycheck, probably still carrying his weapon, even though he's charged.
But my brother,
She did a one-man grand jury, not indicting him like everybody else down through 36th District Court. Why did she give him this? The other guy in Grosse Pointe Park, Joe Gans, that killed Bashir, James Bashir. She let this man walk around for 3 weeks, a month, or 2 months without charging him, and he confessed to the crime. This is Davontae Sanford. This is the most corrupt conviction or plea deal in the history of the Wayne County Prosecutor Office and Detroit Police. They're corrupt. The Justice Department with the consent decree is not doing anything but standing by, paying lip service. Judy Levy, Barbara McQuaid are doing nothing. So tell everybody, I think she's with Kim Worthy run, she's running unopposed this year. Do not vote for her. Everybody, you know, this is the most corrupt prosecutor in the history of the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
She has no shame.
So all she needs to do is fall on her sword. Let this child out. The facts do not fit the crime anywhere. I've handled weapons all my life. A 14-year-old mentally disabled boy, blind in one eye, cannot kill 4 drug dealers.
Why would he walk up to the scene if he did it?
He cannot do it.
He didn't do it. She knows he didn't do it.
That's it.
And for all of the officers that lied on me that night.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all might be the law, but y'all not above the law. Because only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. Thank you.
One more thing. And also, I'm going to ask the spokesman for Wayne County, Maria Miller, why didn't the police officer that threw the flash grenade in there get charged? He was charged. That's assault with to do great bodily harm. He wasn't charged. They haven't even released his name.
That entire raid team should have been charged. The entire raid team should have been charged.
They came to my home.
They're throwing Weekley under the bus.
They came to kill.
They kept investigating both cases for a long time for the Voice of Detroit. And I do have the name of one of the other officers that invaded Aiyana's home and took her dragged her out of there like a rag doll, according to Jeffrey Feiger, before her family could touch her or hold her in her dying moments. His name is Ante Taylor. He was likely the one that threw the grenade too, because he was there on the scene immediately afterwards. Ante Taylor is already a killer cop. Several years ago in front of the Cantrell Funeral Home, he murdered a young man, Artrell Dickerson, 18 years old, who was at a funeral for his friend. The police drove around because there was a large crowd. They claimed that they saw somebody pass a gun to Artrell. Artrell ran because he didn't want to be caught with a gun. They shot him as he ran. And Ante Taylor, I talked to witnesses, Condemning Taylor shot him in the back as he lay on the ground and executed him. So that's the type of people that are on the team that invaded Aiyana's home on that special. The whole team needs to be charged. The entire police command that allowed that case to happen. All the people involved, Kim Worthy, all the police officers who unjustly interrogated and had Devonte confess to something that he had no business confessing to without a lawyer or a mother. But I just wanted to get that in about Condemning Taylor, because I covered his story for the Michigan Citizen some time ago. And I did find out from Jeffrey Fire's attorney that he was the one that took Aiyana's body out of there.
Without either one of our parents. Right.
Karen Plants gets 6 months for a monstrous crime of lying on somebody. Davontae Sanford was induced to plead guilty to something he didn't do.
A baby.
And I'm not finished because I'm going to tell it now. A nation that prides itself as having the best justice system in the world should tolerate no room for corruption, lies, and misconduct that sends an innocent child to prison for a crime he did not commit. Not for 1 day, much less for 37 to 90 years in prison.
That's right. He's one baby himself.
And if we remain silent in the face of that injustice, we are committing a greater crime than the oppressors themselves for not standing up, hold our heads high, and fight for his life. For the life we save today may very well be our sons and daughters tomorrow. And in the end, we are defending not only Devontae's rights, but the rights of each and every one of us to due process and equality under the law.
That's right.
Indeed, one of the most fundamental principles under our Constitution says that no man, woman, or child should be deprived of life, liberty, or due process without, or property without due process of law. The inalienable right to liberty draws from that principle of due process, a principle the new nation founded and saw fit to include in our Constitution as a covenant to the people that our government would not commit the same crimes that the British Crown did in denying its citizens their inalienable right to liberty. We stand here today to remind this prosecutor and her minions at 1300 Bobian, who stole Devontae's liberty without due process of law, that those guarantees are not written in our federal Constitution for mere window dressing. A child was stolen from his mother's embrace and given to the state as a slave in violation of due process is an act of wickedness, treachery, and deceit by the highest levels of government on this corner. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we come on the authority of a power higher than any judge of this court. Soldiers we are, with truth as our weapon and courage as our armor, to stand before this court and tell the world what the Wayne County prosecutor and Detroit police have lied and denied for 5 years now.
18 years!
And in that endeavor, we will not cower, we will not whisper, and we will not be afraid.
We will be heard.
For truth is our guiding post. Here today we stand at the crossroads of justice and righteousness, for we are guided by an almighty hand to stand here and condemn the prosecutor and Detroit police for their enormous crimes.
Yes!
Those are the sacred principles written in our Constitution and sung from the hearts of souls like Dr. King, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, and faraway heroes like Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, and Che Guevara. It is a universal language understood by all mankind. Liberty more valuable than gold. As Patrick Henry, one of the nation's founders, once said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And it is on the shoulders of giants like these heroes that we draw our courage today to condemn the shameful misdeeds of the Wayne County prosecutor and Detroit police instilling liberty and due process from 14-year-old Davontae Sanford. Shame on you all!
Shame! Shame!
When they begin an assault on freedom, we must fight to defend it, lest the nation descends into an abyss of tyranny. For sure, they who are corrupt have committed a tremendous dishonor to the people, are the greatest threat to our freedoms, and have declared war on liberty. Indeed, when government descends into total tyranny, and deprives people of their right to due process, freedom is on the throes of extinction. Nearly 5 years ago, on September 17th, 2007, 14-year-old Davontae Sanford, a mentally disabled boy who could only read on the 2nd grade level and blind in one eye, left his home in his pajamas at 1 a.m. to investigate police activity at a home on Runyon Street not far from his home. Curiously, as most children will do, Devonte walked up to the scene and asked one of the officers what was going on. The officer told him, "You know what's going on," and took him into custody. Ever since that day, that fateful day, Devonte has suffered a tremendous injustice, ladies and gentlemen. After hours of interrogations that began at 4 o'clock in the morning and again at 9:30 p.m. that day, and after 2 police-prepared statements were put in front of him and told what he did, Devonte was instructed to adopt the police officer's typewritten confession that sent him to prison for 37 to 90 years. A virtual life sentence for a 14-year-old boy. Tragically, he did not realize what they had just done to him in that interrogation room. In the first statement prepared at 4 o'clock, Devontae's role in the killing was not all clear. He does not even place himself at the scene of the crime. They knew they had a problem getting a conviction with that first statement. It was seriously lacking any evidence of admissions of guilt to anything. So they were not satisfied, ladies and gentlemen. 17 hours later at 9:30 p.m., they picked him up again and prepared another statement in which they told Devonte he actually helped commit the murders and had him sign a confession to it all. Devonte, who suffered from a reading comprehension disability, never read either statement. It was read to him in a leading manner, and he was told to agree to it. Now, never mind that the interrogations were done in violation of Michigan law that required a parent or a guardian or an attorney to be present when a child under the age of 16 is interrogated. But we know from having watched the video of the interrogation and having read the 2 statements prepared by Detroit police, Devonte did not confess to anything. Information from the crime scene was fed to him by the interrogating officer, and then leadingly asked Devonte if the statements were true. Devonte, willing to please his interrogator, answered affirmatively. And they call this a confession? Don't insult us with that nonsense.
That's right. Don't insult us.
In the interval between 4 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. that day, Detroit police, realizing they had a mentally disabled kid, employed a buddy system whereby they took him to the Coney Island, let him play on computers in the office, won his trust, and deceived him into believing he would be a big man if he confessed to the murders on Runyon Street. Devonte answered affirmatively to their questions to please his interrogators, believing they would let him go home. You can't blame a child under those circumstances.
No, you can't.
But Detroit police got sloppy. Oh yes, they got very sloppy. They induced Devonte to identify 4 accomplices in his statements, for whom the prosecutor never filed charges against the moment those accomplices' alibi defenses stood up. If the accomplice portion of Devonte's confession was not true, would that cause you to question the reality of this entire statement? In addition, ladies and gentlemen, ballistics evidence at the scene seriously undermined the statements in which officers induced Devonte to say he used a Mini 14 to help kill the victims. It is undisputed, however, that a Mini 14 casings was never found at the scene. It is also undisputed that Detroit police never found the Mini 14 they said that in Devonte's statement that he used. Nor, for that matter, did the prosecution ever argue that Devonte threw the gun away. He did not throw the gun away, ladies and gentlemen, because he never possessed that firearm. He was never at the Runyon Street house. He did not commit those murders, and they know it. They got sloppy. Oh yes, they got sloppy. The injustices go on, ladies and gentlemen. Then there was the confession and testimony by another defendant, a total stranger to Devonte, who confessed to the crimes with greater detail and for whom all the forensics evidence corroborated his version of the murders. Well-known freelance self-professed hitman Vincent Smothers. The AK-47 weapon Smothers admitted to using matched ballistics evidence found at the Runyon Street killings and at the scene of another murder he committed. In addition, Smothers identified an accomplice to the Runyon Street killings who used a .45 pistol, which when they found it, also clearly matched some of the casings and bullets found at the scene. Again, the forensics evidence in this case clearly corroborated Smothers' rendition of events that day in which he confessed to committing the murders. It does not stop there, ladies and gentlemen. Here's some more truth medicine that the prosecutor and Detroit police have kept from the public. In his various statements admitting to the Runyon Street killings, Smothers also provided evidence that a .40 caliber pistol taken from that home was used yet in another contract killing he carried out on an officer's wife at the CVS store in Detroit. Devonte in his statement never mentioned that .40 caliber pistol. That makes sense, don't you think? When Detroit police at the time they prepared this statement didn't know the .40 caliber pistol until Smothers confessed to the crime a year later. Who do they think we are to believe this nonsense?
Stupid.
But the sloppiness does not stop there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know when I'm really hitting the nerve at 1300 Bobian. Smothers in his confession described in detail the amount of drugs and money taken from the Runyon Street killings, a fact conspicuously missing from Devontae's so-called confession. Oh, but I'm not done yet. Allah take my hand and let me speak the truth. In Smothers' unadulterated confession, he also identified a 6-year-old boy who was in a back bedroom with a female victim who survived the killings. In the statement Detroit police prepared for Devonte, however, there was no mention of this 6-year-old boy in that house. Good police work or sloppy investigation? You tell me, sloppy and they were slipping. I'm not done yet. Even more interesting is the fact that in neither of their respective confessions does Devonte or Smothers identify each other as helping each other commit the murders. In fact, Smothers, a methodical professional hitman, even admitted he never previously knew Devonte or employed him to help carry out these murders. It makes sense, don't you think? Why would Smothers, a professional hitman who identified his accomplice as someone other than Devonte, need a 14-year-old mentally disabled kid who was blind in one eye to help him kill 4 people at night? Also, why would Smothers take the risk in allowing such an amateur killing escape his grasp and allow him to go home rather than keep him under his watch to be sure he would not tell his mother or the police about his role in the killing? Let me know, Kimworthy, when you want me to stop. She wants to play Lady Macbeth, treacherous as she is, in now silencing Smothers. She and Judge Sullivan of this court, who recently denied Devontae's motion to withdraw his ill-advised guilty plea to these murders based on newly discovered evidence of Smothers' confession. Smothers, ladies and gentlemen, after several legal maneuvers with the prosecutor's office in attempting to get immunity in exchange for testifying on the witness stand and telling the truth, recently indicated to the Associated Press that he is now willing to get on that witness stand and without a grant of immunity, feeling atoned for his crimes after learning that Devonte was wrongfully convicted based on police and prosecutorial misconduct in extracting a bogus confession from Devonte. Just recently, in a 29-page opinion and order, Judge Sullivan of this court compounded that wrong by abusing his discretion and refusing to allow Smothers a third chance to finally get on that witness stand and testify. In his ruling, Judge Sullivan said, incredibly, that despite all this newly discovered evidence of Smothers' involvement in the murders, Devonte has not met his burden of establishing actual innocence. Judge Sullivan ruled there is no basis to conclude that Devontae's confession was false. He further ruled that Smothers' confession, standing alone, is insufficient to warrant granting Devontae's motion to withdraw his guilty plea. Really? Perhaps Judge Sullivan was asleep when all the facts and evidence about Smothers' role was played for the whole world to see and hear. No, he was not asleep. He knows better than to believe that fanciful make-believe law he created. He further corrupted this case that started at the crime scene on September 17, 2007, and ended right on his desk with his 29-page ruling that distorted the facts, contained critical gaps with respect to the evidence, and ignored other key evidence pointing to Smothers' guilt in the killings. For instance, Judge Sullivan talks about a crime scene sketch Devonte drew pinpointing the victims' locations in the house. I have that sketch, and it was not drawn by Devonte, it was drawn by the officer who interrogated him, and just like his confession, he had Devonte sign it. Judge Sullivan, how dare you deliberately misrepresent the evidence while ignoring all the other evidence of this child's innocence? How dare you ignore the fact that Smothers provide detailed evidence ranging from the amount of drugs and money taken from the home to the forensics evidence corroborating his version of the types of weapons that were used in the murders. How dare you ignore the fact that one of the murder weapons used in this case was indeed found at Smothers' accomplice's home. How dare you ignore the fact that Smothers also correctly stated that a 6-year-old kid was in the back bedroom of that home on the night of the murders? How dare you ignore the fact that an AK-47 used in that crime was the same weapon Smothers used in a different contract killing? How dare you ignore the fact that the .40 caliber weapon Smothers used to kill that police officer's wife was taken from the Runyon Street house? You, Judge Sullivan, are not worthy of garnishing your robe any longer and further corrupting this case and condemning this child to a life sentence by willingly sweeping all of this evidence under the rug. What are you hiding? You are hiding the truth. You and the prosecutor are hiding the truth that the officers who extracted Devontae's confession did so under highly coercive tactics in which trickery, deceit, and mischief were employed. Indeed, this judge, the police, and the prosecutors are in lockstep in denying justice, betraying our trust, and committing a greater crime. What are they afraid of in allowing Smothers to testify, who has nothing to gain but everything to lose by getting on that witness stand and telling the truth? What are they hiding? Their own wrongdoing. That's what they're hiding. From the moment Smothers confessed, they realized they had a huge problem on their hands in that Devontae's ill-advised plea to the charges came full circle. So what do? They make him their sacrificial lamb to their corruption, lies, and deceit. It is treacherous, ladies and gentlemen, and one I will never forget. It is unconscionable, yes, downright outrageous, what you did, Judge Sullivan, in ignoring the truth, ignoring the facts, and denying this child justice. This 29-page decision by this court is not the law. This is garbage in violation of the truth. An injustice further perpetrated by a judge who is now complicit in the corruption of condemning this young child to prison for crimes he did not commit. This child's blood is now on the hands of this court. There is absolutely no physical evidence that connects Devontae to these murders. Nor was there ever any connection between Devontae and Smothers. Only after Smothers confessed to the crimes a year later did the prosecutor alter her theory that he and Devontae must have helped each other. But what they don't tell you is that when Devontae entered a factual basis for his plea prior to Smothers' confession, he never identified Smothers as his accomplice in court. I challenge the prosecutor to prove me wrong. She won't, because she cannot. Clear the smoke bombs, ladies and gentlemen, and see the truth. Miss Worthy, do you continue to deny this child justice? What victory do you get in the war on crime by continuing to refuse to confess error and set this child free? Kim Worthy knows she can stop the appeals right now by filing a confession of error with the Court of Appeals. That is why we are here today. The power is in her hands to do justice, to do the right thing. What victory is there for the family members of those 4 murdered victims on Runyon Street in knowing a child was wrongfully convicted of those murders, while Smothers and his accomplice, who walks free on the streets of Detroit today, enabled to carry out more murders, remain uncharged? There is no victory in sending an innocent child to prison. Speak on it. Even the British Crown was never so cruel to its children. Hear us, Miss Worthy, and obey. Obey the principles of due process, a fair trial, and the laws of humanity. Obey indeed the word of God, you Pharaoh of this court, and set this child free. You are committing a greater crime in continuing to condemn him to prison, rob him of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He will never be able to get a high school diploma, raise a family, and live life to his fullest because her sin is pride. She who lectures us about justice is no guardian of justice. Let me tell you, She who denigrates the principles of justice just as she does violence to the presumption of innocence. With this shame, with this crime against a child, you, Kim Worthy, have denied justice, killed our faith in the system, and betrayed our trust. Shame on you! Kim Worthy would do well to heed the admonishment of freedom fighter Frederick Douglass when he said, and I quote, "No man should put a chain around the ankle of his fellow man without at least finding the other end fastened around his own neck." Your crime in condemning this child is enormous, and here again you leave a trail of tears. Come down from these steps, look this mother in the eye, and dare you tell her Smothers had it wrong, Kim Worthy.
My God.
The police, the prosecutor, and the judge in this case offer the world a drink from the well of deception. We, however, offer you a drink from the fountain of truth. They build barriers to the truth, drop smoke bombs, and lie and deny along the way. We refuse to settle with any notion that our son's life is that cheap that we must move on and let him rot while the prosecutor salivates with the blood of innocence in her mouth. She who professes to be the guardian of justice has now violated it. Where is their justice? Where is the equity in condemning a young boy to a virtual life sentence and rob him of all hopes, all dreams of getting a diploma, going to college, and growing in this society? Where is their justice and equity in knowing they wrongfully convicted this child only to aggravate their travesty by playing ignorance about it all today? But we will not be silenced in the face of this corruption. We will not tremble before the evildoers. We will never let this prosecutor and the police who railroaded this fine young man, Davontae Sanford, to a life sentence forget their enormous crime. Indeed, we will forever keep him indelibly on her mind until he comes home. I got one more page. I want to assure you, Tamiko, that until justice is done, we will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not surrender. And in saying so, I'm inspired by the words of Comrade Fidel Castro of Cuba, who inspired a nation for more than 50 years to stare down the oppressors who impose a criminal embargo against that people. Seguimos hasta la victoria. Onward to victory. You are not alone in your suffering. We suffer with you and stand by you until this wrong is corrected, until Devonte comes home. Until that is done, Tamiko, we will fight on. We will get victory and renew the spirit of justice under the law. For I am moved by the words of a former slave. All my life, I have been called a slave. They tells me I belong to my master. That may be true about my body, but my soul remembers a time when I was free. So when I get a chance, I will run.
No justice. No justice. No justice.
No peace. No justice. No justice. No peace.
Good job,
no justice. No peace.
His name is Michael Purifoy. They railroaded him. Police, judges, prosecutors. This stuff didn't just start. We should have been got together. And until we as people start doing something about what's going on, there are a lot of innocent people in jail right now. All they want to do is blame somebody. They don't care who it be. It don't matter. Especially if they want to get elected. They'll hurry up and throw somebody in jail. And that's what happened with my brother Michael Purifoy. He was put in jail because they wanted to be elected. A neighborhood murder took place. And it seemed like Detroit just allowed everything to go on. When do we come together? This place should be full with people. Where's our people at? When are